So let us continue from where we left off. So on this video that we are going to learn what is a layer and what can we do with this layer and how to modify the layer, and there is uh, one small important concept that we might come across as we go through the layer. So so first to explain you what is a layer. For easier purpose, I created a view, but I can quickly delete this view and tell you. So we have a view called top view. I'm going to create a custom view out of it. So uh, I'll call this view as custom top view. So now if you see, this view has similar orientation like top view. Now, what do you need to see? What you are going to learn is about the layers. So here, if you see, there is something called as a layer column. Layer is helpful for for make the visibility easier. For the easier visibility. For example, in this view, we have all the objects available here. We have some information. Uh, Give me a second. So we have this information about sketch is visible. All the other sketch, we can also see all the datum planes in it and the coordinate system. So if we want to show only, let's say, the part instead of showing all the unwanted elements, we can use the layer to visible to first show the layer column or the features which are in certain layers. The we can show it via this column and then with the checkbox over here. So if you check it here, you will see the layer column. If it is unchecked, then it will go off. So now is easier. There are different types of features here. One is sketch feature type. We also have extrude feature type and then multiple features. What sometimes happens is user wants to show only certain objects in certain view, and he don't wants to show all the sketches for in this view. Let's take that as a scenario. Then what we can do is we can move all the sketches to layer number certain layer. In this case, I moved it to 20. So if you see here, my layer is all the sketches. If you see, the sketches are moved to already layer 20. How to move this to layer 20? You select the sketch or multiple sketches. If you right click here, there is this icon. This says here edit display. So here you can play around with the layer. So it is in layer number 20 now. I can move it to layer number, let's say 21. Now, now if you see, the layer is moved to 21. In case of layer number 20, we need to, if you need to know the shortcut, it is Control J in the keyboard. So if you press Control J, then you can see the same window, and then uh, if you provide the value, it will get moved. Now we'll go back to the coding part. Now in the coding part, we'll see so this is a basic information if you want to what is a layer. Now let's say you want to show or hide certain objects in certain layer. So in this layer, I don't want to show all the sketches. So what I do is I go to File menu, Format, Layer Visible in View. So all the custom view that we got created will be visible here. And then I'll go to layer number 20. If I scroll down here and then set this layer to invisible, as I click apply or OK, you have to see here the sketches which is in blue color will get hidden. Yeah, you have I believe that you have seen it. So it's much more better now. As the same way, if you don't want to show the layer number, let's say the layer the object 40, then what we can do is menu, format, layer visible in view, same thing, and then the data plane is on which layer? Layer number 40. So we'll go to layer number 40, scroll down to 40, and then make it invisible. Click apply or OK. As you click OK, um, this object will get hidden. Now you can save this layer, save the part as required. Now let's say we want to um, change the layer number of certain objects. So if you want to do it, we can do it individually or we can do it based on the type. For example, if they say, okay, I want to move all the sketches to layer number certain layer. Let's in this case it is already in 20, so we will move to layer number already 40 is also used, 30 is used, so we'll use 50. So if you need to do that way, if you need to do this, then we will write a small program to collect all the sketch, and then from the sketches we will try to move it to layer number 40. I'll So in order to do this, we have to understand a small concept. The concept is called, and a difference between an entity from a feature. So I'll give you a small example about it first. So here you see there are different kinds of features available. Let's say data coordinate system feature is there, sketch feature is there, extrude feature, and then so on. Now, if I say what is this feature name, the feature type is extrude, that we can see it here, right? If you want to show this column, again we have to click on this column, and then selecting this checkbox will do the same for you. Now, if you want, if you here is the concept. So this is actually a feature. Because of this feature, there is some kind of object got created, and that object can be any object. So this extrude has created a solid body, or it can also create a sheet body. So how to know this? If I go to the filter and then set this to solid body and then select this extrude, it will usually the filter will not allow you will not allow to select other filter type. If I select solid body, then it should only select the solid body here, but still it will allow me to select. If I select this, it will allow me to select because this feature is used to create a solid body. So there is two different things. One is the feature, it can be a feature type, and other one is an entity or an NX object that got created because of this feature. So here in this case, the solid body got created from the feature type extrude. They are in the same way you can use the same solid body extrude feature to create a sheet body. So it's based on the use case. So this is one thing that you have to know. So why how this point is related to our layer issue is you cannot able to set directly layers to the features. If we will quickly go back to our next session, and this is actually a cleaned up version of what we are using from the beginning. So if I create a feature, and then this feature is actually in NX open, and let's call this name as feature for now for testing. If I say feature dot layer, it will not allow, there is no API that will allow you directly to set this set any layer to it. So instead of doing this way, what we have to do is we need to get the object or the entity that got created out of this feature. So in this case, we have solid body got created. In this, let's take this example. This is actually in layer number 20. The layer number 20 is not visible now. That is okay. Now, using this sketch feature, there is one object called sketch got created. So feature is different, sketch is different, which is what you need to understand. Now, in order to get this feature, in order to get the entity out of this feature, you can either get feature dot get entities, or there is another way of doing it. So here, if I say feature dot get entities, it will give you me the same the NX object. If you see here, if there is more than one object, it will return me that object. But in the same way, you can directly collect the sketches out of the work part. So if I say work part dot sketches dot, so if I say sketches dot to array, this will give me all the sketches available inside it. So I'll say we call this as this is an array of type what sketch. So let me quickly check whether I have the display type of sketches. It's a sketch collection, so sketch should be also there. And let's call it as sketches or work part sketches. Let's call it as sketches for now. Now we have the sketches, all the sketches available. Now for this sketch, if you want to set the layer, there are different ways of doing it, but what NX by NX also suggests its own option, and that is called there is one API, there is one class called display modification. So we have to use that API to create the to set or do modifications in the layer. So we'll quickly do that. That is actually inside this work part. First we'll declare an object for it. So if you see, there is something called display modification. We call it as display modification, and that is coming from the session object, if I'm not wrong. Session dot display manager. So here if you see, remove this, I don't want this. So here if you see, this object accepts many things. We can do many things with this, but for us to change the layer, we will take only that API. So if I say this and then dot layer or new layer, so for this new layer, for all the objects that we are going to pass, what is the new layer that you want to set? For example, we'll set it to 35. So if this is just a random number, you can use it as per the requirement. Now and then after this, we need to say all the objects. We are going to set some few objects, right? What are the objects? The objects are the sketches that we already collected in the line number 46. So if I go back and then say I need to add this object into my into this class. So if I go, there is something called display object I think objects, I think, if I'm not wrong, or let me quickly check what are the APIs available. Using this way, we have to check. Sometimes the API names, we usually, there are lots of API names available, so we don't know which one to use. So that's why we need to check. So we have something called apply. So here, if you see apply, if you set certain objects into this apply method, this method will take all the objects that set into this class and then set all the modifications that we set. For example, here we set color layer, right? In the same way, if there is some solid body and if you want to change the color of it, we can change that as well. uh, if I say control and then here I think new color or font, so these are the different new we can do many things out of it, but for us to work we will be using only the layer. So I'll command this line and then apply. So if we do apply here, I need to pass some objects into it, and the object is here. Now one more point that you have to understand here is there is something called so if you see, this object is actually sketch, but the type of this object is sketch, but here if you see, the object type is called displayable object, but still it accepts. Why? Because this the sketches is actually inherited from displayable objects. If I go to the documentation for this, if you see, this is actually inherited from displayable objects. So by this way, we can say that the sketches is actually got inherited from displayable objects, so it will accept it. Now this is that's it. That's the code is almost done, but we have to do few more things. Few more things such as like we need to dispose the API. So I'll say dispose. Dispose will do the cleanup work. That's what we need. Now, one important point that we have to do is we are doing some modifications inside it. So if we are doing some modifications in the display, right, we are changing layer, if we are changing color and font, that value needs to get updated in the view. So if you want to, or in the changes need to get updated in the view. So if you want that the those value to be reflected, after applying, we need to do an update. So what we usually do is we create an undo mark. So for now, you don't need to know what is an undo mark, but the logic behind is we need to create an undo mark, and then we have to do an update using this undo mark. So let me quickly create a undo mark here. Undo mark is actually inside NX open session thing, and then undo mark ID. So we had to create an undo mark ID, and then it's inside the session thing set undo mark ID. So do you want to make this undo mark ID visible? For now, let me make it visible so that we can see it, and then we say change layer. I'll create a separate video about this undo mark, but for now, this is what you need to know. So we forgot to give a name. We say so here I'll also show this undo market from the NX. Here since we set it to visible, we can see this undo mark in NX. So after this, I'm going to say session. We already here at this line of code, we already set the layer. We set the layer here, and then we are setting this value to all the objects. So which means it already set all the objects layer. So we need to do an update. The do update is actually in the update manager. Manager dot do update. So this needs an undo mark. And if I pass this layer, sorry, the layer change undo mark here. Now, so what we did, we collected all the sketch at this line, and then we passed it to this display modification. Using this display modification, we set a new layer, and then we applied it, and then in order to make the value to visible update in the NX, we created an undo mark and then did an undo mark update here. So let me quickly rebuild this application. So what it does is, as I explained, it collects all the sketches and then change the layer. So here if you see, all the the sketches are in layer number 20. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So after running this application, this layer will go to layer number 35 because we set it to 35. Now if I go to tools, format and layer visible in view, we already set the layer number 20 to invisible. So that is why we don't see any sketches. If we set the layer number, we are moving to layer number 35. All these objects to layer number 35. It is in layer, since this type is visible, the layer is visible, we will be seeing all the sketches again after we running the application. So let me quickly run this application. So the application will finished. You see here all the sketches move to layer number 35. So in the same way, you can set an layer and then change the layer. We can write in many application out of this, like if you want to set certain objects to layer at certain type of objects to be at certain layer, we can do it. What is the exact use of it is, first is to show the visibility in the view, and the second is we can export this specific view to a neutral format like JT or DXF. so that the user don't want to, in the JT viewer, you don't want to see all the unwanted things. So this is one important concept that you might um, need. You can go through this video again and again. If you have any doubts, you can write it on the comment section. And other than this, if you also have any other doubts, you can either contact us or you can write it in the chat box. Thank you.